Eric, welcome to Kannon Studios, the Kannon Studios podcast. We are super grateful to have you here, and we just are, humbled and appreciative. To our audience, if you don't already know Eric, most of you probably do, but Eric is a certified nutrition coach. He is the owner of Scrub Soft Wash, along with his son Brock, and Brock is a rock star. If we ever do a parenting podcast, Eric is going to be the first guest again, because first conversation I had with Brock was like, wait, what? You are how old? Yeah.
So, he's something else, but I do have two other kids that aren't like him. So
hey,
just kidding, Peyton, Colt, you guys are just as awesome. I
love you. 1 out of 3 ain't bad though.
Yes, it's a good ratio.
Yeah. Eric, you've also had a landscaping company as well, that you started and became extremely successful, and actually, I believe you sold it a while back, and that's been a big part of our community. So yeah, Eric, welcome. We're glad that you're here with us.
Well, I appreciate you my name coming to your heart and asking me on here. So it means the world.
Absolutely. So our first episode, we kind of dove in and talked a little bit about this topic of being known as a business owner, as an entrepreneur in your community. And we kind of quirkily named it, Do You Know the Muffin Man? Or that's kind of our overarching theme for this month. And so when we were planning and we sat down and thought out who could we bring in as an expert to kind of speak to this topic, and we made a big list of names and all the entrepreneurs that we have in our community. And Eric's name came up at the top of the list. And so we wanted to reach out, and he was gracious enough, flexible enough to be able to come in quickly and sit down with us. So
within 24 hours, right? That just, I don't know, God lined that up, because I know how busy you usually are. So that's a blessing.
Yeah. If you got time to do it, let's do it. Kicking the can down the road just adds another thing to your to-do list.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, and
this is important stuff.
Yeah. This is a testament to that. Being here today is just a kind of a confirmation that, reaching out to you, you got this topic nailed. You've got this figured out. And I think that is a big part of, what's made you successful. And so we just kind of want to, take time today and pick your brain. So
sure.
I'm going to shut up and let my better half talk a little bit.
You don't have to say it like that. I'm just trying to see where you were going so I can pick up.
I'm all over the road. So
no, it's okay. It's all right. People appreciate that. I appreciate that. So we have Eric here. We were just kind of talking before the show, and I said, Eric, I think what you do is more than just nutrition. I think you're a transformation coach, and so you help just change people's mindsets, and then the nutrition follows. And so I know that we go to a lot of the local networking events, and just whenever you're in the presence of Eric, you just know that he's gonna give you some nugget of wisdom. And so that is also one of the reasons why we wanted to have him on the show was he's consistently showing up. We can see the evidence of the people's lives that he's changing. And he actually takes his own medicine, right? He's following the exact system and the exact blueprint that he shares with others. And so I think that's super valuable to the community. If we back up a little bit, if we think about your childhood, what would you say, or can you point to a specific thing in your childhood that happened that kind of shapes who you are now?
Wow. Right. When you said that, something came to mind. So at first I would have said, you know what? I don't really think that there is a moment that kind of led me to what I do now as far as entrepreneurship, but my dad was an entrepreneur, and he had a computer maintenance company that he had for years and years until he sold and retired. And so I think some of those subliminal, subconscious type things of seeing him be an entrepreneur probably is what led me to have that desire as I got older. But I will say this: when I was in 5th grade, and I may not. Let's just tell the story. So when I was in 5th grade, I had a lie told about me, flat out, straight up, just made up lie that significantly affected my entire school, years of school. So even though the lie was, oh gosh, it was a ridiculous lie even, but the jokes and the things that kind of led from that throughout my entire middle school, elementary school, high school did affect me, because even if I could, there was always this thing in the back of my head of what were people thinking of me, no matter what. I could walk down the hall and that's the first thing I think of is, what are people thinking of me? What are people thinking of me?
Yeah.
And when you live in a place like that, especially as a young child and a kid and as a grown up, the longer, if you don't deal with those issues, those roots grow deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And so it's harder to work on those things as we get older. And so I guess my point to that is I have had to learn, and I've been dealing with that really my entire life. And I would say probably over the last 7 years is where I've actually tried to go back and work on some of the things that are in my subconscious mind that I think about myself that can keep me from being the best that I want to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm very happy with where I am in my life, my finances, my family, everything, but I am nowhere near satisfied. So, and that's just having a thing of gratitude as you go. But that thing that happened to me then has allowed me, even though I'm 50 now and I could say, gosh, I've wasted all these years. I wish I'd done this work on myself back in my 20s. It wasn't the right time. God's timing is all. Yeah. So it's made me who I am. And I think that's important because there's a lot of things, there's things that happen in each and every one of our lives that we can take that can break us or make us. And depending where you go with that. And we all have those moments. Nobody's had a perfect life. Everybody's had difficult moments. And we've got to learn how to battle that and get through those. And I think that was probably an important part that's made me who I am today.
Wow.
And I would even go to say, right, like you have to be really self-aware to be able to identify that that's like something that's going on with you, right? Because you could have all of these things happening, like you said, around you or situations, and you deal with them a certain way, but not understand why. And so, and you don't understand why. So being able to say, like, this was the root of that, and that's what I have to fix, right? But you going through that journey is what allows you to be able to help others, so that they feel like they're not alone. Like, hey, I'm right there with you, right? Like, I do not have it all together, and I'm right here with you, and we're going to take this journey together. And so that speaks volumes.
Yeah. I was just going to say that takes courage to self-examine and look past, what's on the surface to uncover that. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We all lay our heads down and we all have our own demons inside of our head that we have to battle.
Yeah.
And, too many of us just get to a point where it's tiring. It's too tired to do the battle. And you just settle and you say things like, this is just the way I am. Yeah. This is just how I was raised. And so you put something on you that you think that that's just the way you are.
Yeah.
And it's not. Anything can be changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
I want to dig into that later in the episode because some people may not know how to change. And would you say the first step is identifying there needs to be a change? The
first step is desiring to want to change. As soon as you want to change, you're like, I want to change. I want to find out. Yeah. Then you realize, oh my gosh, it's not me. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are millions of people that feel just like I do.
Yeah.
The same thoughts, the same, and once you can figure that out, then it's like, okay, are there steps to take? Yes, there are. People have been doing this for a long time. I just didn't realize it. And so the self-development world, there's so much material out there. So make that decision that you want to change and then start to go to work on what needs to be changed, what goals, what you would desire, what it takes to get there. And your mind is going to start telling you the fears that come up. It's going to be all the things that you don't want to do, all the things that you say, oh, when it makes your heart beat, start sweating, start getting hot, anything.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens, that's right. That's what you need to work on, not avoid. Most people would say, whoa, that's too uncomfortable. I obviously need to avoid that.
Yeah.
Opposite. You got to dig into that. that.
Yeah.
That sounds like me going to the gym. I need to avoid.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I again feel attacked.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to?
No, I didn't have anything else.
Okay. I thought you were about to say something.
No.
Let's reflect again. Oh, I think you're ringing.
That's just Brock.
Okay.
Silence is silence. I guess not anymore.
We've got the this is like when you have do not disturb and then you have like the exception. So like Gianni is an exception on mine. So I'll be like, do not disturb when I'm at work, and she'll call me and be like, uh-oh. Yeah.
It's never always
in a meeting.
Oh, well. All right. Good.
Yeah.
So you have been in entrepreneurship for a while. We know that you currently have some business endeavors. You've had one for over 20 years that you eventually sold. Talk to us a little bit about like maybe one significant memory you have of like a significant challenge, just in your experience being an entrepreneur.
Probably the biggest challenge I had was it always will be with employees.
Mm-hmm.
When we had a fairly good size landscape company that we had 25 employees. We had about 6 crews, and we had a maintenance division and a landscape installation division as well. And so we had a couple competitors that we were friends with, but still wanted to take down the top. We had a pretty good reputation around Canton, Georgia for sure. And the Woodstock and really Metro Atlanta, we had built a good reputation. And so there were a couple other companies that came out and we're friends, but they still want to take us down. They still want our customers. They want to, and so if you could picture tax time for an accountant, it's when they're like, I can't even think straight. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing, springtime for landscapers, the month of May is whacked. We're just coming out of, winter and things are growing and everybody is ready right now. All the flowers that are going in, all the installation, all the pine straw and mulch and upgrades, not to mention all the weeds are now growing and the bushes are growing and the grass. And so everything happens all at once. So it's always a very hectic, crazy, very high money, driven time. But it's very stressful. And so we had 1 year, I walked into work just like I do every morning, and we had a whole entire 3-man crew that came and said, we're going to leave and go with a different company that promised us more money, less hours and all that. Right.
Wow. So
right at that moment, a driver, 2 guys, their entire crew and everything that was going to be going on just dropped. And I just remember thinking, okay. And we handled that. And however we handled that, it just got through, and those are the battles. Those are the things that they were a really good crew too. So it was something I never had to even worry about. It went from not even having to think about to a lot of thinking about how can I replace this crew? How can I get the lawns done today in a time where I can't even think straight and all that? Yeah. That was a very trying time. But I had to think about it. It's not like, but that was probably one of the most difficult. It probably was the most difficult, but again, God's good. He had it worked out. And that's if you can't take the fire, that's
the good with the bad.
Certainly challenging.
But they're good. When you come out of those times, you just realize, okay, I made it through that too. Okay, I made it through that too. And that's part of it.
That's definitely crazy how that works. Cause it's like, I was just having sort of a moment, the other day where it's just like, overwhelmed and like everything seems to be like kind of closing in on me, and it's like all these different responsibilities, and you know, my like immediate reaction to those things is normally I kind of fall back into the habit of imposter syndrome, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting this done because I'm not good enough, or I'm not, you know,
Absolutely.
this, I'm not that. And I just had to, you know, kind of take a second, realign, and or readjust my perspective on who I am, and, you know, who God created me to be, and just tell myself, essentially, like convince myself that, you know, you're not in this situation because you're just here to fail and feel bad. Like, you're in this situation because this is where you've been specifically suited to help others and to be, you know, of service to others. And so getting to that point, like making it not about me, making it about, you know, the people around me, like my family, my community, like that is completely, you know, changed. And so
that's great.
I can see, you know, kind of, I don't know, similar, but like in what you were saying, I could kind of like feel some of those similar like emotions, and like, you know, wow, this is a lot, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but you just keep moving and you figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's that awareness, like you were talking about. The awareness is, most of us don't, because you asked, is that the first step, becoming aware? Probably before the desire, you need to be aware that you even have the same issues that we all do. I mean, getting to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people will just stop there and they just say, well, this is just the way I am.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still continually learning that. I mean, this year, even as young as it is, 10 days in, I'm realizing things about myself that I'm seeing, oh my gosh, I see where I am making it about me and fear. And I'm not serving the person that may need to be served because I'm too worried about how I feel.
Yeah.
And there's still, and he's revealing all kinds of new stuff, which is great because that just means more growth.
Yeah.
You know, if we're to be refined, you know, and you think about those a perfect round silver ball that has burrs and things all over it before, each one of those burrs are getting rubbed off until you're perfect. And we're never going to be perfect till we get to heaven. And so it's always continued work on. Yeah. And God's the refiner and the finisher, and we just kind of let him do it, but we're always getting more and more refined.
Yeah.
Amen.
For sure.
We're about to, we was about to go down a whole other track, man. But
very easy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could call the podcast Rabbit Hole.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
Honestly.
Or Rabbit Trail.
Right.
Yeah.
Rabbits don't live in holes.
That's right. They don't.
See, there's another
That's
one.
the groundhog, right? Groundhogs live in a hole, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
They do, right?
Sure.
Because on groundhogs, they come out of the hole or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's right.
Groundhog hole.
Yeah. That'll be our new term. Yeah, we went down a groundhog hole on that one.
Yeah.
You mean a rabbit trail? That's
Wait, what? Yeah.
All right. You want to get into the topical questions?
I think we better, as otherwise we're way west.
All right. So, Eric, what are some habits that you've adopted to ensure your community recognizes you as a subject matter expert in your field? That's a question.
Well, I mean, on the nutrition thing, I mean, a lot of the habits are just building my own health habits, my own being a product of the product, doing work on myself. Those really have been, I've learned some of the habits are always making me prepared to be a better vessel for the people that I'm trying to help. And those are the habits really that I've been doing. There's no, like tangible habits. Like if you're going to be a tennis player, you're going to go out and hit reps and reps and reps and 1,000 balls a day, something like that, where there's actual habits you need to build for that skill. For what I do, mine is to help others, get healthy and to help them get unstuck. And so I have to have the habit of human, like, how do I get unstuck? How can I help someone? What would I do to get unstuck? And so working on myself are really the habits. And you know, that sounds so vague, working on myself. So maybe, so what are some of the habits that I would say that are very important? Working on myself, which these may not be nutrition related or even soft wash related.
Yeah.
But you've got to make yourself better. So having a morning time, having a quiet time every single morning. It's very important to me that I have probably an hour and a half to 2 hours of quiet time where that is journaling and Bible reading and things like that. And that starts my day. I make sure that I have 25-minute time blocks per thing. So that's a good habit that has helped me a bunch. So I'll take 25 minutes, set a timer, work on one subject at a time, take a 5-minute break and move on to the next subject. But that is 25 minutes of focused time on that. There is no phone. There's no, hang on, let me get a snack. It's 25 minutes of focused time on that. You can get a lot of stuff done per thing. So if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 things that are important to you during a day, give yourself some time block, whatever that is. I suggest not necessarily going past 25 minutes. Yeah. There's some research done that shows 25 minutes is like the perfect time. Take a 5-minute break and you do that again. So then you've got two subjects done in an hour. Yeah. Wow. So things like that have helped. Digging into, I read 10 pages a day. I really kind of stopped there. I've always wanted to be a reader and I love reading books. Yeah. But how many of us say, oh, I need time to read. I just can't find time to read. I need to sit down and read because we think that needs to be a big, long time. Right. So I started doing 10 pages a day. Yeah. And it's focused on those 10 pages. And even if I'm into it, I stop at 10. Yeah. And I have a pen with me. And so I can really spend the time on those 10 pages. I put it down and I have stacks of books that I've read now. Yeah. Because I'm just doing 10 a day. Yeah. So there's another habit. Yeah. Yeah.
So, to me, it sounds like what you're doing is essentially, like Gianni mentioned earlier, like you're taking your own medicine. Like you are becoming that reliable expert by actually like doing the things that you're saying are important. And so you are, what was the word used? Transformation coach?
Yeah, something like that.
I love that.
You help people get unstuck. And so over and over again, each and every day, like you are getting yourself unstuck, like you are doing the work in yourself that you want to be able to do in others, but you're doing it yourself first. Yeah. And so that's got to create a huge amount of just, respect and I'm sure within yourself, like it's humbling because you're revisiting those difficult points in time and you're doing it over and over and over again. And so, because I'm sure a lot of people will get to a certain point in a particular field of expertise, and then they'll just be like, I'm good. I know what I'm doing here. And they'll just be satisfied with where they're at and not continue to challenge themselves to maintain that level of, of sharpness and their expertise, because just knowing the information is one thing, but experiencing the actual consequences of that being implemented is a completely different mindset. So
yeah. Well, I think I have to hold myself to a higher standard, and I'm not saying that I've got a long way to go. A long way to go. But if I'm going to be someone that I seriously really desire and want to help men and women get better and be better and transformation coach in all areas of their life. And of course, nutrition is a huge thing. Everyone eats and everyone needs to live as long as they can and healthy. So that's a big part of our life. Yeah. But if I'm going to be that voice, if I have to be that someone, I have to work on myself 10 times harder than I'm telling anyone else to do. Yeah. And that's the challenging part. That's the part that is the most difficult. And being vulnerable in that it's not easy, that I got it all figured out now. No, it's that I have to continue to work, but I am doing the work. Just because I'm not perfect, I'm doing the work. And as you do work, you realize so much and you can help others. Yeah. Here's where I've had victories. Here's where I haven't. Most of us just don't do the work.
Yeah. I think that is what makes an expert is I think what makes an expert is them realizing that having the title of an expert isn't the finish line, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly like, okay, I've met this. Now I've got to go higher, because when you've reached that level, right, people are also going to come up to that level. So how do you stay ahead of the game so that you're able to teach people? And it's just that constant growth. And like you said, like, I think the biggest thing, right? Yes, you read those 10 pages, but you're implementing and executing on the information that you read in those 10 pages. So yes, it's good to understand the knowledge, but how do you apply it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Which brings up, the books I read, it's not like A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
It's actually self-development business type books that will help me.
Yeah.
That's the point of it for sure. Because I did not mention that. It's like, I just read 10 pages.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, does that, no.
Harry Potter?
Nope. No. Yeah. That's on your fun time.
Yeah.
That discipline 10 pages is no.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good stuff.
We can edit this part out. Do you want to ask a question? You want me to ask all of them? Because I feel like
go
okay.
for it.
You sure?
Super producer.
I don't know about that. All right. Okay. Next question I'd love your input on is, do you think there's a correlation between reputation and growth in small business?
Absolutely. And if I hadn't owned my own business first, I would think, well, sure, because if you have a good reputation, then you're going to have good business. To me, that kind of makes sense. But knowing that over 22 years, we never advertised, we didn't do anything, we grew just because of word of mouth. Your name, the Bible says your name is to be desired more than silver and gold. So it doesn't mean you don't desire silver and gold. It's that your name should be desired more than that. And so that's always stuck with me. And my name, our name is everything.
Yeah.
So having that reputation, then it's just easy. Then it just spreads like wildfire if you are, if you're doing the right, the right things. You're doing the integrity, the things that you say you're going to do. You do a good job. You go above and beyond. All the things that you know to do them. Say what you do and do what you say, and that reputation. And if you don't, it doesn't take very much. Negative news travels way faster than positive news.
Yeah.
So if you do something wrong to even one person, you better fix that. And if it was something accidental, whatever it is, remedy that. Make sure your name is the most important thing that you do, because then if you do something wrong, that word spreads and your reputation gets dragged through the mud, and then no one's going to hire you to do anything. Yeah. So, be careful starting off. You can get a lot of work before your reputation hits. And you may have a lot of influx thinking that, hey, this is great. This is working out. I don't really have to be as honest, or I don't have to work on that kind of stuff. And pretty soon, once the reputation comes, then the work won't, unless you're, working on, unless your integrity and character is solid. So those two things, just like I say, working on yourself.
Totally.
That's part of any business. And you can be successful in any business you want to do. Yeah. Having that first.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just wanted to I wanted to say that with what you just said, I think what happens is a lot of people get caught up in trying to, they're trying to make sure that their business is operating in the black, like they're making money, and that is it tends to cloud the fact that them building a successful business is more about them building a business that has a long-term sustaining reputation. Like people want to do business with them, as opposed to them being able to make a few dollars here and there and keep the lights on. And so I think being patient with your business can help ensure that you're not taking that reputation for granted. But
that's right. That's right. Got to do the right thing regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the subject of reputation, I think a result of having a good reputation is people are going to talk about you. And you mentioned in your previous business, right? Everything was word of mouth. So now that you've transitioned and you are operating to other businesses. Would you say that now, even still, most of your business comes from referrals, or what do you think is like the biggest thing that has helped you kind of grow those businesses?
Yeah. On the nutrition, on my nutrition business, I would probably say it's 50-50 referral and 50% me actively seeking people who I know need help in one of the 5 areas that we handled. Actively seeking, finding the person's pain point, and then pointing them in the direction that they need to go. So that's still probably 50-50. With our soft wash company, I have a feeling it's going to be pretty much the same. We can spread very good word of mouth. However, we have a different intention this time. When I started my landscape company, I was just a mid 20-year-old, and I just said, if I'm going to do landscaping, I'm going to do it myself. Like my dad. And that was my reason for getting in. It's a little different now. And so even talking about reputation, we would love to help kids that don't necessarily know what they want to do for the rest of their life. And when I say kids, I mean anywhere from like 18 to 25.
Yeah.
Kids that have character, integrity, they like to do the right thing. They're good people, but they just don't know where they want to go.
Yeah.
We want our soft wash company to be a place where they can come and learn all life skills, like keeping a good reputation as they go on, but a place where you have to show up on time. You've got to do the right thing, even when you don't want to. You got to deal with customers. You got to deal with employers. You have to deal with a lot of skills. And coming to do that, then but we want to help mold them into the best person that they can possibly be, to go on and do the things, to not be afraid to take chances. And we just want to be that place that we can make people better, make sure they have a good reputation and all those type things. And one of two things will happen. They'll go on to do great things. They'll always look back and they'll say, gosh, if it wasn't for Brock, if it wasn't for Eric, I wouldn't be here today, which that's the greatest reward we can have, when people say that, you changed a life.
Yeah.
Right.
Either that, or they're going to stay with us forever.
Yeah.
Because they love us and they trust us. So with that part in mind, that may not grow word of mouth. We may want to seek, young men and women who are, who have those qualities that aren't quite sure what they want to do, so we can guide them.
Yeah.
So the residential part of our business, I think, will just be flat out word of mouth. And then when we get into commercial is really where we want to grow. So we want to push that a little bit. So we'll be working with some people for advertising and getting that part out. So I can see that being a bigger chunk of actual advertising, less than word of mouth, but it all lands back on word of mouth.
Yeah.
How good of a job you did. And it's a lot easier to make one person happy that's going to tell 10, that it is to go not make someone happy and then have to fix that,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I hope that answered. Did that?
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
That answered the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Were you about to say something?
No.
Okay. I want to make sure I don't talk over you.
I've been following every question like a
a
hound. So
yeah. Why do you think your customers feel comfortable telling other people or referring you to other people?
Well, a couple reasons. I think it works if they have success, and if I'm someone that they can trust. We all need those people. We need. We love to refer friends. We love to be able to give good referrals. And how many times have you had someone you're like, gosh, I kind of know a name, but I don't really want to tell you. And who wants to be that, right?
Yeah.
right.
So it's still, it all falls back on still, what are you doing for yourself and your own reputation and those things, your own character, your own integrity.
Yeah.
And that's why we do work with who we know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Everyone does, whether you know it or not. You either get a product or a service or something. When you do it, you either know the person, you like the person, you trust the person, or all three or two of the three. But without those, what are we really doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've actually got like in mind, like a business that I've referred that like has like I've referred them multiple times, and like both times I was like burned, and it was just like, oh man, like you really want them to succeed, because you might like the person, like the person who's starting it, but the consequence of you referring somebody and then that coming back to you is like, I can't, like, why would you send me to that person? And they, they didn't treat me right. And even worse than that, it's like, you knew for a fact that you sent them to somebody else and they didn't do a good job or didn't, meet expectations. And then you send them to me afterwards. So it's like, now that starts to look badly on my reputation and my, recommendations, because I don't want people to have a bad experience, but I'm also, I'm also like, very much about like grace and, helping people to get through, difficulties and things that they don't understand. But at a certain point, it's like, man, like, and most people don't have that. Like they're not going to give you that grace. And so you've got to, like you said, you've got to maintain that up front and make sure that you are, sticking to your word and you're being of like all of those like high character values. Yeah. Because people don't want to give a bad recommendation because that looks poorly on them.
It does.
And they also want to be able to come back and be like, see, I told you were going to like them. I told you. And that feels good to them. So, you know, that's just human nature.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
When I say I told you so. Yeah.
That's right.
See, I told you that would work.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm actually this question wasn't listed, but I think you can answer it, even though I'm kind of putting you on the spot. So let's say we have a person new to the area, a new business owner, and they show up at a networking event, right? The three things you mentioned are people do business with people they know, like, and trust. How do you get to that know stage as someone that's maybe in an unfamiliar territory or unfamiliar space? So how do they get from being a complete stranger to becoming someone that someone knows?
I would say getting to know as many people as you can. So like the one-on-one meetings that we do at networking groups, and you don't have to go to a networking group to do a one-on-one. It's just, that's the model that we have. But having an appointment and setting up time with someone that, first of all, that would help each other. But you have to have the thought in your mind of is, how can I serve? How can I serve? So right when you step into, well, I'll tell you how I did it. When I came to the networking groups last year, I think either February or March is when I started coming. And my main objective, my number one goal was just how can I add as much value to each person that I talk to here? And that's how you build that trust. Yeah. So what that means is I would see someone, if someone was even asked me to have a meeting, if they were interested in nutrition or whatever it was, that's great. But I want to make sure during that meeting that I get to know them. I let them talk. I want to hear about them. I want to post their business on social media. I want to pump them up. I want to add value to their life and I want to make sure they feel better when we leave, that they feel like they gained something that made them better when they're done. Yeah. So that's that, leave every person you meet with the thought of increase. Yeah. How can you give them that feeling? And so not coming in like a bull, not coming in to try and take over. Like, I need to hurry up and make $1 million here and get everyone. You need to be that opposite of that and pour into others. And what happens is like a microwave popcorn bag. You put that popcorn bag in the microwave and you're sitting there looking at it, and a minute's gone by and it hadn't done anything. And you're like, it's not doing anything. And all of a sudden, one pop, and then pop, and then pop, 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 pop. Yeah. That's what starts to happen. But the first half of that is you're pouring into others. And so you build that knowing, so they know they know you more when you sit down, and hopefully they'll like you more, and not everyone's going to like you. So you can also find your tribe within those doing that. Yeah. And then the trust comes. And then now you have the ability to pull through for someone. Now you've pulled through. Now they tell someone else, that raises the credibility. Yeah. And so all that takes time. Yeah. And pouring into one life at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
That's good.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
What, popcorn?
Yeah. No, that was really good.
And that's what happened too, didn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
like Justin was the pop,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden 40 people from the groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does have that effect, right? All it takes is one person to have a good experience.
Yeah. Justin's a good microwave.
Yeah.
Or is he? No, he's a colonel, I guess.
He's the pop. Was he the colonel?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is he in this analogy?
He's the pop secret.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Justin's he's kettle corn though. So.
He's kettle corn.
Yeah. That dude is straight up excitement and
That's
joy.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are a few specific action steps a business leader can take to improve their reputation and make their customers raving fans of their product or service?
Yeah. I would, really summing up a lot of the same thing. I mean, I hate to be redundant, but it's, and I'm sorry, you said what are a few steps, like steps that they can take to.
Yeah. So we'll just say, like, what are 3 steps, a business leader, business owner can take to improve their reputation?
Yeah. Yeah. One is examine yourself. What are really your intentions and your goals, and are you pouring into others and adding value first?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at those icebergs and they say that an iceberg is, you see the tip of success, but the whole foundation is laying underneath the water that you don't see. That foundational stuff is where those the work has to be done to improve your reputation. So help others, see where you can get involved in the community. Work on yourself, do the difficult things, do the things that, and everyone's different here, but there's certain things that I think we can all do. Having a quiet time, no matter what your beliefs are, but having a time in the morning where you're quiet and you're putting together in your brain, setting your day, visualizing yourself actually doing the things, which visualization was a new thing for me, but it has worked immensely. So that's a great habit. Start to visualize the person you want to be. So if I want to do more, speaking on stage and things like that can scare the crap out of most people, and probably would me too. But as you start to develop your skills and learn not to be afraid of certain things, and then you want to go for them. So if that's something I want to do, I need to literally visualize myself with confidence and standing there and people interacting, and see it actually happen in your mind.
Yeah.
And stay there for about 4 or 5 minutes. It's not easy. Your brain will start to trail off. It takes discipline. Yeah. But practicing that as a habit, visualizing where you want to go and visualizing yourself already there.
Yeah.
If you want to be a better dad, visualize yourself playing with your kid for 30 uninterrupted minutes, putting your phone down, visualize yourself putting it away where you don't have to see it. Visualize all these things in your life that you can see yourself, make a movie of yourself and the person that you desire and that you want to be. Take the time to sit and visualize. And I used to say, that sounds so stupid. It's hokey. What am I doing? I'm sitting here just visualizing. It's just like looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you love you, and that affirmations. Oh, those affirmations. Start to look at the top 100 people. It doesn't matter. The top successful 100 people, whatever you consider success, and look at the things that they do. Every single one of them, they do the affirmations. They do the visualization. They do all those crazy, hokey things that seem stupid. Yeah. That's why they're successful, because it's just in our own head. Yeah. Look for 3 things that other successful people are doing and that seems stupid and uncomfortable, and just prove it wrong for a month.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, when you mentioned speaking on stage, that reminded me, when I saw the picture of you on stage recently, and like, congratulations on that, by the way. Like, that's amazing. Thanks. And the picture I saw following that was of Brock watching you on stage, and that for me, like, as a dad, like, I couldn't imagine like how that felt, like how good, like, just getting to that point. Cause like, as dads, we always wonder, and we like, am I doing enough? Like, am I giving my son, like, am I there? And, I think everything you just said, like, being able to like visualize that and then have it manifest and come to reality, like I'm sure that was like emotionally overwhelming. And so,
Yeah.
And
If you talk to a golfer,
mm-hmm.
and I don't hardly play any golf anymore because it's just very time consuming, but it's an awesome game.
Yeah.
You talk to someone who got a hole in one or they hit this great shot. They're like, that's what keeps me coming back to play golf. It was that one shot. It was that one shot. That picture that was a hole in one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what keeps me going. When I saw that picture, I mean, my heart dropped. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I knew he had texted me while I was on stage. He's like, Dad, I'm so proud of you. I love you. He's like crying. He told me all this. So I knew he was like that, you know?
Yeah.
And having that kind of impact on your son keeps you going. Whether if I'd looked so stupid on stage. Oh, I said the dumbest thing. Oh, all the crap we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
That right there, you just like, all the bad shots in golf. I shanked that one in the woods. I missed the ball. That hole in one keeps you coming back and gets past all the other bad shots.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm trying to hold it together.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was one of those, you know, how we kind of, we'll think about a post we want to do or something. We're like, oh, I know what I'm going to do here. And then I saw that and it was, whoa. Mm-hmm. And I just posted and wrote immediately it was an immediate. And of course it just, you know, over 300 likes and some shares and some things like that. And, you know,
whatever. There's people balling all over Cherokee County. Just
but those are the important things, you know. Those are the most important.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Totally, man.
Yeah. What you said a little bit ago about visualizing yourself, kind of where you want to be, where do you envision yourself? That kind of segue, and you said, you know, if it's you on stage in front of people, that segues into like our last question. It's totally off topic, but I don't know. I think it's just interesting to ask. Imagine that you've just won, you know, whatever the highest award is for yourself, right? Like, I think for me, because I have a music background, I would say a Grammy would probably be the highest award. If you're an actress or an actor, maybe an Emmy or an Oscar. Yeah. So whatever that is for you, right? You just want it. What are you saying in your like thank you speech?
Gosh. Yeah, like everything I just said, right? You know, it would have to be just that. I mean, I can see it, you know, holding it. And okay, so I mean, I'm visualizing myself right now standing there with a mic. And I mean, what would I really say? I mean, it's like, gosh, how could I accept this as myself? It's without the people behind me, without the people who've poured into me, without my wife supporting me, without my kids, without you can't do it yourself. You just can't. You know, my walk with God, my everything that keeps me from all the junk that I would think about myself to allow me to even think that I can help someone else. It's very humbling. So this is not necessarily a speech, but I'm thinking of this right now. Sorry. And maybe it is. Maybe I would tell this in the speech. We've talked about, Kyle, about how you pour yourself, how you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And then I started thinking about, well, even if you had a full cup, why would we want to actually get up and pour ourselves out? I heard it said this way: if you just sit still and you keep pouring into yourself, keep on pouring into yourself, it spills over. And it gets everybody wet around you without you having to pour. All you have to do is just keep pouring. Keep pouring. Someone starts to come close to you and they can reap your benefits. And me and Brock were just talking about this. And here's something too that I realized. How many times have we had someone come up to us and told us how we made a difference in their life and we didn't do anything?
Right.
We're like, I didn't do anything. And you kind of, sometimes that can make you feel like a fake. Those are the people. And then you're like, man, the ones that I work on, I'm trying to help this person. And they're not necessarily getting it.
Yeah.
That's where we're like, yeah, see, I'm a failure. Yeah. See, I'm a failure. So then, if say you have a friend who you're really trying to help and they're just not taking your advice and they're not doing, you're pouring and they're not doing it, you can feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Then you'll have people come that you didn't do anything for, and they tell you how you changed their life. And you're like, man, I feel like a fake. What are you talking about? I didn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
That's the just pouring into yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are coming are because you've been working on yourself.
Yeah.
You're actually helping them without having to do the work. I say the work again, it comes back to yourself. And that was a big revelation for me, just even the last couple of days, where it was like, oh my gosh, son. And me and Brock were talking about this because he was my girlfriend and all these people I'm trying to help, and his sister and trying to help. And then all of a sudden confrontation happens, and there's this, and then he's like, yeah, Dad. Then this woman who's like, she makes $10 million almost a year she goes to Brock and says, hey, can I pay you to mentor my son?
Wow.
He's never tried to do anything with her. And I said, that's you pouring into yourself, and she just sees it.
Wow.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. We don't have to try so hard. And here's the sad truth. We could have a line of people locked arms that are working together, and we're all moving forward. And if there's one person that you have to keep going back for, you're keeping yourself and everyone else that's ready to move stalled.
Yeah.
Because you have to go back, and it's draining, and it's harder, and it's more difficult. And there's a spot for you right here, but you've got to do some of the work also. So that can drain you. So again, there's another rabbit trail thing, but I would probably if I went to accept an award, I would walk up there and start saying whatever's on my mind. And so that's what would happen.
It's your speech, bro. Like,
right. There's no format to how you would say.
Yeah. I'd like to thank the Academy and everybody. It's like, no.
I'll say I feel bad for whoever has the wrap it up button on your speech, because I would just be like sitting there just like, this is awesome. And then meanwhile, like the show producer was like, we're hit the button. He was
button
like,
it up here, buddy.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
No, that's a great speech. Sorry, I do that. My thoughts sometimes just like it drops off a cliff.
I thought you were about to say something else.
Yeah, sometimes I land the plane, and sometimes
Do you think you can land it today, or are you still like taking off?
No,
you want to land it right now?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So I'm visualizing them in the cockpit, and
we just had a great flight, no bumps.
Yeah.
Food was awesome.
Yeah,
everything was great. We're flying right down into Maui.
Yep.
There we go.
But seriously, like this has been awesome, and we are super appreciative of you, like giving us your time, and that you are the first guest that we had is amazing, because like you did a amazing job. Like I'm sitting here feeling like I'm ready to go and take on the world with all this new knowledge. So thanks again for being here. And
no, I owe you the thanks. Just to be able to hang out, meet with you guys, and talking about real life stuff. This is what life's all about. Yeah. This is just fun. And then knowing that you might, make a difference in one life, that's the ripple effect. That's what we do. That's why we got to do it.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I love being here. This is awesome.
Yeah. You guys do a great thing.
Thank you.
I'm blessed and honored to be a small part of it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.